Jenny and her boyfriend, Steve, decided to spend their weekend on a picnic by a secluded lake. The lake was deep inside a dense forest, with no sign of human habitation for miles. They packed their essentials, drove through the thick woods, and finally reached the lake. The serene surroundings and the tranquil water made it the perfect getaway. After setting up their tent near the lakeshore, Jenny and Steve began enjoying their time together. The peaceful moment, however, was soon disrupted by the arrival of three mischievous teenagers, Max, Adam, and Darcy. They were around 13 to 14 years old and had a dog with them. The trio seemed to be looking for trouble, and upon spotting Jenny and Steve, they decided to mess with them. Max, the apparent leader of the group, commanded his dog to attack the couple. The aggressive dog charged toward Jenny, barking fiercely. Startled and annoyed, Jenny reacted in the most unexpected way. She let out a massive fart. Jenny, tit, po, 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 po. The force of her fart was so powerful that the dog was blown away, soaring nearly 2 kilometers before crashing onto the ground, whimpering in pain. The three kids stood frozen in shock, their eyes wide with disbelief. Jenny, seizing the opportunity, glared at them and threatened, "Jenny, if you try anything like this again, I'll send you flying just like your dog." Terrified by her bizarre yet terrifying power, Max, Adam, and Darcy quickly retreated. However, the troublemakers were not ready to back down so easily. While Jenny was busy swimming in the lake, the three kids returned and kidnapped Steve. They dragged him deep into the forest, tied him to a tree with iron wires, and set their dog upon him. The dog viciously bit Steve, making him scream in agony. By the time Jenny realized Steve was missing and rushed to the scene, Max was already holding a knife to Steve's throat. "Max, one move, and I'll slit his throat. Jenny, please don't hurt him. I'll do anything you say." Jenny for the first time felt helpless. She pleaded with them. "Max, superglue her butt so she can't use her power." But Max was relentless. He turned to Darcy and ordered. Darcy hesitated, but obeyed. She applied a thick layer of industrial-strength superglue to Jenny's rear, effectively sealing her deadly weapon. Then, they tied Jenny up next to Steve. With Jenny unable to use her farts as a defense, Max began torturing Steve further. He took the knife and started cutting small wounds into Steve's body. Blood dripped from his skin as he groaned in pain before losing consciousness. "Your turn. Cut her." "No, I won't do this." Adam looked at Jenny, then at the knife and hesitated. He said, tossing the knife aside. Max's eyes darkened with rage. "Coward," he spat. Without warning, he picked up a heavy rock and smashed it against Adam's skull. The sound of bones cracking echoed through the forest as Adam collapsed to the ground, his head crushed beyond recognition. Seeing this horrifying act, Darcy panicked and ran for her life, disappearing into the woods. Max, still unfazed, turned back to Steve and ordered his dog to attack once more. The dog lunged at Steve, biting deep into his flesh until he was lifeless. Blood pooled beneath his motionless body. Now Max turned to Jenny, grinning cruelly. But what Max didn't realize was that Jenny had already freed herself. When Adam had thrown the knife, it had landed near Jenny. Using it, she had carefully cut through the glue that sealed her power. As Max charged toward her with the knife, Jenny took a deep breath and unleashed her most devastating fart yet. The sheer force of the explosion created a shockwave that shattered the ground beneath Max. The earth split open, swallowing him whole as his screams faded into the abyss. Breathing heavily, Jenny turned her gaze to the dog, who was still growling at her. Without hesitation, she picked up the knife and drove it into the dog, ending its reign of terror. Covered in blood and fueled by fury, Jenny ran towards her car. As she sped away from the nightmare, she noticed Darcy on the road ahead, frantically waving for a lift. Jenny stared at her for a moment. Then, without a second thought, she pressed the accelerator. The car slammed into Darcy with a sickening crunch, sending her body flying through the air before landing lifeless on the ground. The end.